I never thought betrayal could feel like staring into a mirror and seeing a stranger's eyes staring back, cold, calculating, and utterly devoid of the sibling bond we once shared. That night in our family's sprawling Seattle estate, as thunder rattled the windows, my brother, my twin, Ethan, did the unthinkable. He slipped into my skin while I withered in his, all to bury his sins under my name. And when our parents bought every poisoned word from his lips, kicking me out into the storm like yesterday's trash, I realized revenge wasn't just a fire in my gut. It was the only light left in a world that had gone pitch black. It started 6 months earlier, in the humid haze of a Pacific Northwest summer, when the air in our childhood home still carried the faint scent of Mom's lavender candles and Dad's aftershave. The Thompsons, me, Marley Thompson, Ethan, and our parents, Richard and Evelyn, were the picture of upper-middle-class perfection in Bellevue, Washington. Dad ran a tech startup specializing in neural interfaces, the kind that promised to revolutionize therapy for trauma victims. Irony, right? Mom was the socialite glue, chairing galas for mental health charities, her smile as polished as the marble countertops in our kitchen. Ethan and I, we were the golden twins, inseparable until college cracked us apart. I went the artsy route, graphic design at UW, freelancing for indie bands, while he dove headfirst into Dad's world, engineering prototypes that blurred the line between mind and machine. But beneath the surface, Ethan was rotting. I'd catch him in the basement lab late at night, hunched over humming servers, his eyes bloodshot from whatever cocktail of stimulants he was mainlining to chase deadlines. Dad turned a blind eye. Ethan was the heir apparent, the one who'd inherit the company. I was just Marley, the dreamer, the one who reminded Mom of her wilder days before she traded paintbrushes for pearl necklaces. We joked about it. Ethan called me the spare tire, and I'd fire back that he was the flat one. But jokes hide knives, and Ethan's was sharpening. The first cut came subtly, missing money from Dad's accounts. Small at first, $5,000 here, 10 there, siphon for Ethan's research. He was developing something off books. A neural swap protocol, born from Dad's legit tech, but twisted into a Frankenstein's dream. Temporary body transference, meant for espionage clients he drummed up on the dark web. Imagine it. Mar, he'd whispered once, half drunk on cheap bourbon during a rare heart-to-heart. You could walk in someone else's shoes, fix their messes without the fallout. No more hiding who you really are. I laughed it off, called him a sci-fi junkie. But he wasn't joking. And when the auditors came knocking, tracing the funds to my freelance account, Ethan had forged the transfers. Using my login from a borrowed laptop, the blame stuck like tar. I remember the family meeting like it was etched in acid. Dad's office, all glass and steel, overlooking Lake Washington. The sun was setting, painting everything in bloody oranges. And Ethan sat there in his crisp button-down, looking every bit the victimized prodigy. Marley needed cash for that festival gig. He lied smoothly, his voice cracking just enough to sell the concern. I covered for her, but I didn't know she'd dip into the business. Mom's hand flew to her mouth, her diamond rings glinting like accusations. Dad's face hardened. The man who taught me to code my first app now staring at me like I'd hacked his soul. It wasn't me, I shouted, slamming my palms on the desk. The wood cool under my sweat-slick skin. Evidence piled up, timestamps on my IP, emails from my address begging for loans. Ethan had cloned my digital life, piece by piece, while I was crashing at a friend's after a late design session. They didn't listen. Dad's voice was steel. You've always been impulsive. Marley. This ends now. Repay it, or you're out. Mom sobbed quietly, whispering about getting help, as if I were the addict, not the brother whose veins probably mapped like Seattle's clogged freeways. That was the betrayal's seed. Deep. Familial. The kind that festers because it's supposed to be sacred. But Ethan wasn't done. He needed a scapegoat, not just a sister. The real crime? He'd botched a client demo. A shadowy venture capitalist, some ex-CIA type named Harlan Voss, had flown in from D.C. for a private showing of the swap tech. Ethan, high on his own hubris, pushed the envelope. Full immersion. No safeguards. The volunteer, a homeless guy Voss sourced, seized during transfer, flatlined on the table. Cover-up was immediate. Body vanished. Log scrubbed. But Voss wanted blood. And Ethan, panicking, saw me as the perfect veil. He waited until after the holidays, when the house was strung with lights and lies. New Year's Eve, 2024. The party in full swing, caterers milling, neighbors toasting Dad's latest funding round. I was in the powder room, fixing smudged eyeliner, when the world inverted. A prick at my neck, Ethan's syringe, loaded with the prototype serum he'd refined in secret. My vision swam, colors bleeding like wet ink. Then, nothing. Blackness. Absolute. I woke in the basement, strapped to the transfer chair. My body weight. No. I flexed my fingers, calloused. Larger. Ethan's hands. The mirror across the room showed his face, sharp jaw, tousled blonde hair, those piercing blue eyes that always got him out of trouble. But inside, me, screaming silently. Upstairs, in my lithe frame, 5 feet 6 inches, and all curves from yoga and caffeine, Ethan stretched, grinning like a cat with cream. He'd done it. Swapped us. Insurance, he mouthed through the intercom. His voice, my voice, dripping silk. You'll take the fall for the dead guy. March. Voss is coming. And Dad's empire crumbles if it's me. Panic clawed my throat. But the restraints bit deep. He monologued then. The villain unmasked in his own skin, my skin. The hidden secret spilled. The embezzlement was seed money for black market parts. The dead volunteer, a test run gone wrong. I'd confessed in a forged video, my face tear-streaked, admitting to the thefts and the botched experiment. You're the fuck up, little sis. Always have been. He left me there, in the dark, as the party raged above. Hours blurred into agony. The serum's half-life was 12, but Ethan had dosed me double, 48 hours locked in this prison of flesh. I thrashed until bruises bloomed, screamed until his vocal cord shredded. By dawn, the house emptied, hangovers chasing guests away. Ethan, in my body, played the concerned sibling, finding me in the lab, raving like a madwoman. She's lost it, Dad. The money, the drugs, it's all her. The confrontation was biblical. Dad burst in, face ashen, Mom trailing with a phone to 911. Marley? What the hell have you done? He bellowed, eyes flicking to the wiped consoles, the absence screaming guilt. I tried to explain Ethan's plot, the swap, but words tangled in this deeper timbre. It's me. He's in me, wait. No. I'm in him. Hysteria. They called it. Voss arrived mid-chaos. A suit like armored ice. demanding answers. Ethan fed him the script. I was the rogue, selling tech to rivals. The death my cover-up. Voss nodded, his smile a scalpel. We'll handle it quietly. Family matter. They didn't call the cops. Not yet. Dad's influence, donations to the right senators bought time. But mercy? None. Pack your shit, Dad growled, shoving a duffel at my feet, Ethan's feet. You're dead to us. Mom turned away, whispering prayers to a god who'd clearly skipped town. Ethan watched from the sidelines, in my sundress and sneakers, tears artfully streaking her cheeks. I tried to help you. March. The door slammed behind me, rain lashing my face, his face, as I stumbled into the storm-swept driveway. Exiled. Penniless. Trapped in my brother's body. That was the mistake I suffered for him. The thefts he'd pinned. The murder he'd committed. Now mine by proxy. But exile births monsters. And mine was clawing free. The first 48 hours post-swap were a fever dream of denial and desperation. Seattle's relentless drizzle mirroring the gray sludge in my skull. I holed up in a Fleabag motel off Aurora Avenue. The kind where hookers bang on your door for the wrong room number and the walls thrum with neighbors' regrets. Ethan's credit cards were frozen. Dad's doing? No doubt, and his wallet held just enough for 2 nights. I stared at the ceiling cracks, mapping escape routes and peeling plaster. While my mind raced laps around the impossible, how do you prove you're you when your reflection lies? Body dysmorphia on steroids. Every glance in the fogged mirror showed Ethan's smug mug, broader shoulders, stubble itching like accusations. I avoided touching myself, but biology doesn't care. I pissed standing up for the first time, the stream foreign and humiliating. A reminder that this husk wasn't mine. Hunger gnawed, but food tasted off, muted through his palate scarred by energy drinks and takeout. Sleep? A joke. Nightmares looped the swap, needles glinting, Ethan's laugh echoing as my soul yanked free like a weed. By day 2, the serum's grip loosened. Tingles started in my fingertips, his fingertips spreading like static fire. I timed it, 47 hours. Give or take. Collapse hit in waves. I retched into the sink, world spinning, until clarity snapped back. My hands, mine again. Slender. Nail-bitten from design deadlines. The mirror confirmed. Marley's face. Freckles across the nose. Hazel eyes wide with feral relief. But freedom? Partial. Ethan had rigged the transfer asymmetrical. I was me. But echoes lingered, flashes of his memories. Tastes of his fears. Like ghosts in the wiring. I needed proof. Not just for me, for them. The family chat exploded with notifications, Mom's voicemails, tearful pleas to come home and talk, laced with Ethan's poison. She's dangerous. Evelyn. Unstable. Dad's texts were curt, disownment papers en route. Voss, a shadow email from an anonymous server. Loose ends get tied. Permanently. Ethan's doing. No doubt. Tying off the noose. Revenge crystallized then. Sharp as shattered glass. Not petty sabotage, something surgical. Exposing the rot without burning the house down. But controversial? Hell yes. I'd have to wield the tech myself. Dip into the darkness Ethan had cracked open. Moral lines blurred. Was hacking family sacred? Or just another lock to pick? I chose the latter. First, intel. I hotwired Ethan's old Civic, skills from a misspent youth joyriding with grunge kids, and tailed the estate from a coffee shop lot. nursing black drips that scalded less than my rage. The house glowed like a false hearth. Christmas lights still up in February mockery. Ethan played the part flawlessly. Marley, the dutiful daughter. Helping mom garden. Charming dad's investors over Zoom. But I saw the cracks, his over-the-shoulder glances, the way she favored his left side from an old lacrosse injury. Night 3. I slipped in. Key under the mat, ironic trust. The basement lab was untouched. A digital crypt humming with servers. Password? Our childhood fort code. Thompson Twins 87.
Inside.
Logs galore. Transfer schematics. Voss's contracts in Cyrillic red flags. The volunteers file. Name redacted. But obit in the news. Overdose. Unidentified male. Capitol Hill. Ethan's notes chilled. Subject M. Viable host. Low resistance.
Me.
Reduced to a petri dish. I downloaded it all to a thumb drive, heart hammering as footsteps echoed above. Ethan's mind descending. I ducked behind consoles, breath shallow. He entered, flipping switches, muttering into a burner. Voss. It's handled. She's ghosted.
Pause.
Yeah. The swap held. Clean break.
Click.
He lingered, sniffing the air like a hound. Marley, that you? Sis. Laughter. Low and ugly. Come out.
We can fix this.
Share the tech 50-50. Temptation flickered. Partner with the devil?
No.
I bolted. Drive clutched like a grenade. Outside. Tires squealed as I peeled into traffic. Horns blaring Seattle-style symphony. Safe house next. A buddy from design school. Lena. Crashing in her Capitol Hill walk-up. Holy shit. Marley, you look like hell's yoga instructor. Over cheap tie. I spilled. The swap. The frame.
The death.
Her eyes narrowed. Activist fire igniting. That's deep state shit. We leak it. But leak how? Anonymously? Voss's reach screamed Langley. No, personal. Controversial punch. I'd swap back. But not cleanly. Use the serum on Ethan during a family dinner. Force the truth mid-toast. Risky, permanent damage possible. Ethics be damned. Lena sourced black market chems. I refined the dose in her kitchen. Blenders whirring like mad science. Memories intruded. Ethan's. A flood of guilt-laced highs. He'd killed before, not the volunteer, but a lab rat in college. Hushed by dad.
Pattern.
Powers poison. Week 2 blurred. Surveillance. Sleep theft. Coffee IVs. Ethan amped the gaslight, filed a missing persons on me, painting me suicidal. Media nibble, local blog. Heiress vanishes amid scandal. Mom's interview. Voice breaking. Our daughter's struggling. Please. If you see her. Lies layered thick. I crashed a gala incognito wig. Ethan's spare suit from the trunk, watching Marley schmooze Voss across the ballroom. Their whisper. Shipment next week. Beijing drop. Global now. Stakes skyrocketed. Decision point. Mercy kill the story. Fade to Canada? Or burn it down? I chose fire. Hacked dad's email, weak password. Birthdays are curses. Planting breadcrumbs. Anonymous tip to Voss. Ethan's double-dipping. Check the logs. Paranoia would crack him.
It did.
Ethan unraveled fast. Marley snapping at mom over brunch. Shadows under her eyes. I struck then, serum vial in my clutch. Invite forged via spoofed sender. Dinner invite. Family reconciliation. Neutral ground, space, needle restaurant. You.
Me.
Parents. Come alone.
He bit.
Ego the bait. Night of. City lights twinkling like distant judgments. I waited in the revolving pod. Parents seated oblivious. Toasting absent me. Ethan arrived. My face pale. Twitchy. Where is she? Dad demanded. Ethan smirked. Probably drowned in the sound. Poetic. Prick needle to neck as we hugged. His eyes widened. Mine, his locking. Collapse followed. Synchronized agony. The pod spun. World tilting. As souls wrestled back. Mom screamed. Dad lunged. But too late. Transfer hit. Me and me. Ethan flailing in his skin. Retching truths. It was me. The money. The man. I killed him. Blurting. Desperate. As security swarmed. But Voss? His shadow loomed outside. Phone to ear. Climax brewing. Not popped. The Space Needles Summit turned slaughterhouse of secrets that Valentine's night. 2025, ironic. Love's holiday twisted into familial evisceration. The pod halted mid-revolution. Emergency lights bathing us in crimson strobes. As Ethan's body convulsed on the carpet, veins bulging like fault lines. I gasped back into my skin. The fit familiar now. Pins and needles inferno. Memories clashing like cymbals, his arrogance slamming my grief. Mom clutched Dad's arm. Her cocktail glass shattering on tile. Shards winking like fallen stars. Ethan? What's happening? Dad's roar drowned the alarms. Call 911.
Now.
But Ethan trapped again. Fully spilled like a sieve. Between heaves. Fragments. The lab.
Voss.
I swapped with her. Framed Marley for everything. The words hung. Toxic fog. As paramedics shouldered through gawking tourists. Voss lingered below. His limo idling like a predator's crouch. But up here, truth cracked the facade. Dad's face drained to chalk. Realization dawning. The daughter he'd exiled. The son he'd crowned. Mom collapsed into sobs. Keening my name, Marley. The ghost returned. Cops swarmed post-extraction. Bellevue PD treating it like a bad acid trip until I flashed the thumb drive. Forensics geek in the squad car geeked harder. This neural map? DARPA-level Black Ops. Ethan, cuffed to a gurney. Glared daggers, his own eyes now. No mask. Lies. She's the crazy one. Swapped me to cover her tracks. Gaslight to the end. But logs didn't lie. Voss vanished by dawn. Chopper to parts unknown. But his scent trailed. Encrypted emails pinging Ethan's server. Demanding cleanup. I could have walked then. Heroes parade. Parents on knees begging forgiveness. But revenge? It simmers. Demands seconds. Controversial turn. I held back. No full leak.
Why?
Dad's empire teetered. Expose Ethan. Tank the company. Mom's charities starve. Mercy or calculation? Readers debate. Forgiveness as weakness. Or strategy. I chose the gray. Anonymous drop to feds. Redacted. Ethan solo sins. Swap tech buried. Voss, left dangling. A shark without bait. Fallout fractured us. Dad shuttered the lab. Sold the patent to legit pharma therapy only. No swaps. Mom dove into therapy. Her own ghosts unearthed. She'd known Ethan's experiments young. Hushed a puppy's accident at 10. I failed you both, she confessed over hospital coffee. For beeps underscoring.
Ethan?
Arraigned for fraud. Manslaughter pending Voss's extradition. Bail denied. Flight risk. The judge sneered, citing disturbing familial deception. In lockup, he penned letters. Sis, we were always one. Forgive. Burn them unread.
Me?
Adrift in limbo. Body mine. But echoes persisted, Ethan's whispers in quiet moments, tastes of his ambitions souring my coffee. Lena pushed indie life, designed the expose graphic novel. Cash in on the crazy. Tempting. But exposure?
Nah.
I ghosted Seattle for Portland, crashing in a Pearl District loft. Freelancing VR interfaces, irony's gift.
Nights.
I trace scars. Needle marks faded. But trust? Gaping. Months ground on. Spring blooming mocking vitality. Dad, called weekly. Voice gravel. Come home.
Kiddo.
Fix this. Home, the estate sold. Downsized to a condo overlooking the sound. Fresh start. Or whitewash. Mom's packages arrived. Lavender candles. My old sketchbooks. Subtext. Redeem us. I resisted, building walls thicker than Ethan's lies. But power's allure nagged, the text ghost. What if I refined it, not for harm, but healing, swap with trauma victims, let them confront demons from safety? Ethan's mistake. My redemption? Morally murky, consent issues, addiction risks. Debates raged in my head, mirror arguments with his lingering smirk. Twist brewed in summer swelter. Voss resurfaced, not cuffed.
But suing.
Civil suit against the Thompsons. Wrongful death. Tech negligence. But filings hit hooks. Ethan's name scrubbed. Mine inserted.
How?
A forged addendum. Marley Thompson. Lead engineer. Ethan's parting shot. Planted pre-arrest. Fed stalled. Voss's DC. Pull stalling probes, but media frenzy reignited. Tech heiresses deadly double life? Paparazzi hounded my Portland door. Flashbulbs searing like serum burns. Panic mode. I fled south. Tacoma's industrial sprawl a camouflage. Hired a PI. Ex-cop named Ruiz. Grizzled. Cynical. Chain-smoking camels.
Kid.
This reeks Langley. Voss ain't solo. Digs unearthed dirt. Voss's firm. Apex neural. CIA cutout for wetwork tech. The volunteer? Not homeless. Whistleblower. Silenced mid-leak on black site swaps. Ethan's client? Pawn in a bigger game. Mind control for assets. Deniability via accidents. Climax loomed. Voss's deposition. Seattle Federal Court. I crashed it incognito, blonde dye. Glasses, back row shadows. Ethan testified first. Shackled. Spinning yarns. Marley masterminded it. Jealous of my success. Lies flowed. But his eyes hunted, found me. Widened in recognition. Voss's lawyer grilled. MS. Thompson's involvement. Ethan nodded fervent. Full partner. My turn unbidden. Subpoena served mid-recess. Ruiz's warning too late. Courtroom tensed. AC humming judgment. I took the stand. Heart jackhammer. Facing Dad in the gallery. Mom absent. Too fragile. Voss leered from counsel table. Suit crisp as lies. MS. Thompson, his shark grinned. Care to explain the body in your basement? Truth avalanche. Drive presented. Logs projected. Swaps. Deaths. Forgeries. Gasps rippled. Judge banged gavel. But Ethan's twist detonated. She's lying. I swapped her. She's the imposter. Chaos. Bailiff wrestled him down. But doubt seeded. Shrinks called. Evaluations ordered.
Me?
Detained overnight. Psych eval under fluorescent hell. Delusions of transposition, the doc murmured. Pen scratching. Classic foliado. Dawn broke with release. Evidence cleared me, but scars deepened. Boss walked. Immunity deal whispered.
Ethan?
Committed. Treatment over trial. Powers privilege. Crazy rich brother gets rubber room. Not bars. Revenge's aftertaste?
Ash.
I'd exposed. But not erased. Families don't reboot like software. Autumn winds whipped Tacoma's shipyards like accusations unpaid. Fall 2025 painting the sound in bruised purples as I pieced a facsimile life from shrapnel. Freelance dried up, clients ghosted. Whispers of that swap girl tainting gigs. Lena wired cash. Tough love texts. Fight or fold. March. I fought. Scraping barista shifts at a waterfront dive. Steam and spite-fueling days. Nights. Therapy marathons. Unpacking the swap's psychic shrapnel. Ethan's memories bleeding into dreams. His first kill. A rat twitching in circuits. Voss's briefings. Souls bartered like stocks. Parents? Tentative bridges. Dad visited once. Rain-lashed Tacoma afternoon. Bearing takeout from our old Thai spot. Condo sterile. His eyes scanning like blueprints. We were blind.
Kid.
Ethan's shadow. Apology trailed. Waited. I nodded. Throat tight. Forgiveness, a muscle atrophied. Mom's letters piled. Watercolor cards. Verses on redemption. Blood's thicker, but truth's the vein. Poetic, but blood betrayed. Voss's shadow lengthened. Ruiz tailed leads. Apex shuddered. But tendrils snaked new shell. Neural forge. DC-based. They're shopping upgrades. He growled over burner calls. Your brother's beta. Ethan's? Committed to a wellness retreat. Code for black site psych ward. Voss's strings pulling. Leak more? Or let rot? Controversial calculus. Whistle full. Torch innocence. Dad's old partners. Mom's donors. Or silence.
Complicit in the machine.
Decision. Infiltrate. Ethan's echoes gifted fragments. Access codes. Weak points. I dose low. Self-swap tease. Mirror trance. Overlaying his face. Channeling larceny. Portland to DC. Red eye. Economy squeeze. Heart-pounding layover nerves. Neural forge loomed. Glass monolith in foggy bottom. Security theater, retina scans. But Ethan's ghost whispered overrides. Night op. Janitor uniform swiped from motel laundry. Badge cloned via dark web app. Halls hummed sterile. Servers purring secrets. Download spree. Voss's files, swaps on detainees. Psyops in Eastern Europe. Proof irrefutable. But alarms wailed mid-exfil. Motion sensor glitch? Or trap? Guards swarmed. Boots echoing doom. Sprint through vents. Lungs burning. Emerging alley rat style into DC's neon underbelly. Voss waited. Limo curb squatting like fate. MS. Thompson, he drawled. Door ajar. Predictable. No gun, worse. Dossier. My life's map. Your brother's cooperative. Post-swap therapy loosens tongues. Betrayal redux, Ethan. Broken. Sold me out for release. He misses his skin. Standoff. Rain-slick pavement. His smile oil. Join or join the volunteer. Offer. Partner. Refined tech for greater good. National security. Endless budgets. Temptation clawed. Power to right wrongs. Swap into tyrants. Force confessions. Morally bankrupt? Undeniably. But in America's meritocracy of shadows, was refusal suicide? Twist inverted. Ruiz's cavalry, ex-CIA whistleblower network. Tipped by my breadcrumb email. Feds materialized. Voss cuffed mid-monologue. His empire crumbling live on CNN Dawn feeds. Tech mogul nabbed in mind swap scandal. Ethan's role? Redacted redemption. Testimony traded for immunity. Committed indefinitely. But the reversal gutted. Files revealed Mom's complicity. Not full. She'd funded Ethan's early hobby. Buried the puppy. Believing genius excuses. Dad knew scraps. Enabled via blindness. The parents weren't dupes. They were architects. Cracks in the foundation they mortared over. Confrontation finale. Thanksgiving. Neutral Seattle diner. Fluorescent piety. Mom arrived first. Pearls clutched like rosaries. Marley?
We.
Dad followed.
Haggard.
Words tumbled. Regrets. Alibis. We thought Ethan was the future. I slid the file across Formica. Mom's checks. Dad's emails. Silence thundered. Mom wept. Dad deflated. Balloons of privilege popped. Ending? No tidy bow. I walked. Drive to Portland. Sound bridging coasts of loss. Happy? In fragments, new gig at ethical VR firm. Lena's couch eternal. Tragic? Echoes linger. Ethan's laugh in quiet. Debatable. Did I win revenge? Or just survive the pyre? Families fracture. But truths? They scar eternal. Debating in the dark if love's the lie we tell to endure. America's underbelly, where betrayal's the family business. And revenge? Just another swap. Waiting its turn.